Yeah, we'll see what happens. We be live.
Yay!
So I saw the first man.
Well, what about the second man?
There's no movie about the second man.
Well, see, they always get in short shrift.
Yep, they sure do.
Hmm.
And
Yeah,
I liked it.
Yeah, you what?
So I saw the movie The First Man, and I liked it.
Cool.
I thought it was really well done.
We'll certainly get into it after the credit.
Yeah, we do the open thingy there, and hey, where's Firefly?
I don't know. Let's check the chat thing. He's not showing up yet. He just may be delayed.
Like everybody else. Oh, look, Wolfie made it.
Mm-hmm.
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 All right, well, let's do that opening and roll that beautiful bean footage.
The podcast is intended for mature audiences. The opinions expressed do not reflect this station or any affiliated partners. Listener discretion is advised.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Geek EZ.
Right?
Huh?
Yeah, I had an interesting thought just now.
That would be.
Well, you read up on news and whatnot, and they're talking about this thing, that thing, whatnot. And, like, well, this tax plan will do this, or that tax plan will do that, or, this initiative will help with that. You're thinking like the Star Trek universe, that the Congress of the Federation never has to deal with that? Because they all each planet kind of does its own thing, doesn't it? Like, Earth doesn't have monetary policy in place anymore, but other planets do. That's got to be kind of a nightmare if you think about it.
Did you guys talk about Iron Fist last weekend?
Right. Apparently that was of no interest whatsoever.
Do what now?
Hey, that happens sometimes. No, I didn't say. We didn't know. The Iron Fist thing didn't happen.
I think it was Monday.
Yeah, it didn't get canceled till this week.
But he's still going to appear in the other shows.
We don't know that.
Well, you know what?
No, they said he is.
I'm going to start doing conspiracy things.
Well, apparently a lot of fans are upset. There was a petition or something with already 20,000 signatures saying to bring it back because the second season was its best season, and I concur. It was fantastic.
Yes, it was. It was so much better than the first season.
And it left it on such a gigantic cliffhanger that it made me excited. Like, come on, all right, I can't wait for season 3. Here we go. And then they're like canceled. I'm like, wait, what?
Maybe the Disney streaming service will pick it up.
Don't say that. Shh.
I wouldn't be surprised if you see. I wouldn't be surprised if you see strange cancellations that don't make sense of all those shows.
Don't give them any ideas.
They probably already have the idea. We don't know the numbers that they're getting for these Netflix shows. Like, if there's enough people watching to justify commissioning another season or not.
Yeah, but
well, we're also talking
Luke Cage then by that point too.
I wouldn't be surprised if Disney's going to pay them one by one to cancel them.
I don't know. Well, Adam has a conspiracy theory going on.
Well, no, my conspiracy theory has to do with the internet itself.
Oh.
This is where the tinfoil hat comes out. Just because, well, I guess it was pretty big news. It was yesterday that YouTube went down, right?
Yes, for
globally.
About an hour.
Yeah, and that's a pretty long time for a ginormous thing like YouTube to go down. But I've also, over the past 24 hours, I have had this issue myself. Yesterday, my internet, while it didn't go completely out, was dumbed down. I mean, I normally run at between 100 and 110 down and like 15 up, and in megabytes per second, that is. And as I was watching some streams today on Twitch, everybody was having internet issues. Every single one that I watched, they were having drop frames. 3 of them left. 2 of them did speed checks right on the stream, or 2 or 3 of them did it on the stream. They checked to see what they were running at. They were dropping frames left and right. I mean, I couldn't even play Star Wars Battlefront yesterday because I didn't have enough signal. I was down. I mean, there was times where I was doing less than 2 megabytes per second. And I think the highest I got until I called was around 11 o'clock last night and said, hey, why is my internet doing this? And they checked and like, oh, crap, because they knew when you call them up, they were like, okay, Ashland. They knew Ashland County, which is the county just to our east, or one of them, no, to the west of us, I think. I don't know. Ohio is a square, and it freaks me out because I don't know direction here. But they were out as well. That was a known issue, that it was out in that county. It was out. It wasn't even like working. It was just there was no internet. So with YouTube going down, and now knowing that some of the streamers I was watching this today, one of them is from Poland, another one is from, I don't know where that guy's from, but they were all over Canada, the US, Europe, and they were having issues as well. So I'm like, okay, this is really weird. And now Alistair is not here yet again, and not because of hurricanes or anything like that. He just has no internet service.
Well, it should be pointed out that Michael here in the U.S. caused a lot of damage, and they're finding that to repair like the cell phone service, a lot of the fiber lines keep getting recut as they try to, various crews try to go through to fix things. So like, oh yeah, we got the service up, and then a emergency crew goes by and cuts things down, and now it's down again. So it's possible that in the case of like Alistair, he could be on a trunk line that somehow got damaged during the cleanup.
I just find it really funny that around the globe, people are having, I mean, the internet seems to be going through issues. Again, conspiracy. I mean, I was just like, could it be a cyber attack somewhere along the line? That, I mean, on a global scale?
Could be. I think I read, no, not read, I heard somewhere that, well, maybe it was read. Either way, heard that some of the things that were done like during the election period, it wasn't a concerted effort per se. It's just that they were testing things. It's like, oh, let's see if this happens, and then it worked or it didn't work, and they would just keep doing that way. And it's kind of possible that maybe because of the error that the servers were overloaded on YouTube, that somebody was just trying out a direct denial of service attack on YouTube. Of course, we don't know because YouTube/Google won't say why it went down. It's certainly not the first time that they've had a break in service, but it's the first time it's been like this, I think.
Well, there was a time, I think 3 or 4 years ago, where Pakistan accidentally blocked YouTube for 2/3 of the world.
I don't recall that. I do recall during a World Cup game that the service just went down because it got overloaded.
Get out the tinfoil hats.
Well, it may not necessarily be tinfoil. I mean, it could very well be an attempt by a nation state to see if could we actually take down this major corporate's website service.
Well, I know when it happened with Pakistan had instructed their ISPs to block YouTube because of anti-Islamic videos, and then one of the ISPs accidentally tagged itself for a good chunk of the world as the fastest access to YouTube while they had YouTube blocked. So 2/3 of the world lost YouTube till they fixed that.
Oops.
Well, that's interesting. But
Kind of scary, the stupid things that can break the internet.
Yeah, sometimes it's something just as simple as wild dogs.
well, again, with with the imagination I've got, and I ran with it, I was like, well, it could have been a cyber attack, and it could also have been a coordinated thing where governments around the world were like, well, let's just see what would happen if we were to shut off communication. Yeah, see, conspiracy theory. But
That's when we felt a disturbance in the force, as if millions of cat videos cried out in terror and were suddenly silenced.
hello there.
Meow there.
Well, things are not looking
Meow
good.
there.
Things are not looking good for the Flash movie. It is now being delayed till 2021.
They pushed it again.
Yep.
And with Warner Brothers saying, yeah, I love the way we switch topics on this show. With Warner Brothers, I don't understand. I think I'm going to start a petition on this one. Warner Brothers needs to get their head out their butt. They have an awesome actor as Superman. They have an actor who has come out and said he's not done with the role. He would love to explore it more. Ben Affleck has actually said that about Batman. And now Warner Brothers is like, we got no plans for these two. It's like they got Aquaman on the horizon. We got Wonder Woman. The Flash has gotten pushed. And now they're talking about recasting Batman and Superman. I'm like, really? Already? I mean, Cavill's not that old. Affleck has at least one more Batman movie in him.
Well, it's also possible that maybe they're just trying to not say anything because people freak out and bitch, moan, and complain, as well as we've seen. And then they'll bitch, moan, and complain anyway. So maybe they're just trying to like, okay, we're getting sick and tired of this.
Well, what they need to do is they need to get writers and directors that can do justice to the character.
Well, certainly.
That's why, I mean, I've got my hopes up really high for Aquaman, and I really hope they don't get dashed because it's James Wan, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yes. Who, I mean, he's got an eye for action. He knows what he's doing. He's done effects-heavy films before, and what's her name? Patty. What's her name? Why can't I think of her name now? Wonder Woman director.
Oh, I can't say. I don't know. Terrible with names to begin with.
Yeah, I'm horrible with names. She's proven herself quite well. I mean, the first Wonder Woman movie was quite enjoyable. It was a very, very comic book movie. And in all honesty, DC's films, while they are not Marvel fun fests, have their own niche, and they work because DC Comics work that way. I've actually seen the first episode of Titans and was actually not impressed, but I was entertained. I was like, you know what? I could see this actually working.
Please tell me that the street hooker look for Starfire was like temporary.
It is.
Yes.
Can I spoil it a little bit?
Sure.
Yes.
Okay.
Sure.
Well, I mean, from the trailers, you get that Raven was looking for Dick Grayson. She's been having dreams about Grayson as a child, and she doesn't know why.
She's
She doesn't know
looking
what's
for that
happening to
dick,
her. Yeah.
I was thinking it, but I didn't want to say it.
Well, yeah, she wants the D. But we'll talk about that in a second too. But she goes on this thing after she finds out that there is something inside her, and she doesn't know what it is. So she's going and she's looking for Dick Grayson, who is a cop in Detroit, and she finds him. Ends up she's being hunted, and one of the people hunting her is Starfire, except Starfire doesn't know, because we're introduced to Starfire in her outfit, all hookered up or whatever it is, in the front seat of a car with an airbag that's deployed. The dude sitting next to her is dead. The car's full of bullet holes, and she has no memory of who she is. None whatsoever. And only in little bits and pieces do we get to see her powers, because instinctually she protects herself when she's attacked. And it was like, okay, I can see where this is going. And the hooker look kind of works for what they're going for because of who she's dealing with and who she is associating with, the mobsters and stuff that she's dealing with, Russian mobsters actually, in the show. So I mean, okay, I can see she's playing a mole and whatever, but it wasn't bad. The actors did a great job with who they were portraying. Robin's F Batman line actually works the way they put it. I mean, it was violent. I'll tell you that. It was really violent. And I can confirm he didn't kill anybody. The trailer made it look like Robin killed everybody in that alleyway. He didn't kill anybody. Every strike was completely non-lethal. Save for the last actual guy he gets, because the dude is a child abuser. And Robin goes and does a little street justice on the dude. And it's possible he could have like terminal injuries. Because Robin knocks him down and then proceeds to stomp on the man's sternum, and then for good measure beats him with the staff.
Just in case.
Yeah.
So it's definitely worth watching.
I would say yes, it would be worth watching. I don't know whether it's worth the subscription for a long time kind of thing worth watching, because right now DC Universe doesn't have anything aside from the comics and some old cartoons. For original content, Titans is it.
Speaking of DC, the Arrowverse has cast Lois Lane for the
crossover event
episodes.
Oh, was it Elseworld? The Elseworld stuff they're doing, or something else?
Yes.
Yep.
The Elseworld
is going to be, what's her name? Elizabeth Tulloch. Also, speaking of Arrowverse, the black and silver suit Superman costume will be seen in Arrowverse crossover.
And if anybody's seen the trailer for
Isn't that like
Legends of
Lord
Tomorrow
or something?
What was that, Adam?
Well, what did Wolfie say? What wasn't it? What?
Isn't the black and silver costume like Super Lord of the Justice Lords or something?
Something like that. Yeah,
No,
it is.
Power Struggle. It was during the Power Struggle, right after he gained his powers back after the red and blue Lightning Superman split.
Well, he wore the black and silver right after the death the death of Superman, where they suddenly had like 4 of them come back, and one of them, I don't remember if it was Superman or not. He had to wear the boots and whatnot, but he did wear a black and silver.
Yeah, it was the first appearance of it.
Yeah.
After he came back to life and had Power Struggle, and then Power Struggle. Sorry, I got that mixed up. Power Struggle led into the red and blue Lightning Superman,
which was a very strange storyline.
Yes.
Still good though. I enjoyed it. It was a good 90s storyline.
It was very 90s. But at least they were trying, they put some effort into it. Unlike of late with like Marvel's Infinity Warp / Wars, it's like they just jump right into it. It's like, you're not really trying, guys. You're not allowing to develop or anything. We're rehashing Infinity War. It's no longer interesting.
I was thinking about that. Because Infinity War, well, everybody loves this movie for some reason. It whelmed me. I was like, okay, yeah. And knowing that the next one is from reports from some of the actors and all the other stuff, that the film, how did Elizabeth Olsen say? I mean, she was like, yeah, prepare yourself, because it only gets worse.
No.
And I was like, okay. And we already know that Chris Evans has said his goodbyes, and
I'm still depressed about that.
Yeah, without Captain America, without Iron Man, to be perfectly honest, the characters they are bringing in, the newer, because we already know Guardians is probably done. I would manage to say that we're not going to get a Guardians of the Galaxy 3.
Well, was it Batista doesn't want to go without him?
Batista doesn't want to do it without James Gunn. James Gunn has already jumped ship and is now writing the Suicide Squad sequel / reboot. And most likely, and it looks like Batista might join him on that end. So there, with all of that, I don't think we're going to get a Guardians 2. We know Black Panther 2 is coming. We're going to get
Guardians
Captain
3, you
Marvel. Yeah, Guardians 3 isn't going to happen. Sorry. But it was like, when it comes, like, do I really, I don't think this new phase of the Marvel Universe is going to kind of do it for me. Unless they bring in, like, the Fantastic Four and they do a good job with that kind of stuff.
Or if they transition the mantles well.
I think it depends on what they do with Captain Marvel more than anything. Because they're setting her up to be the linchpin, but if that movie doesn't knock it out of the park, they're probably in trouble.
Is there a puppy on your end, Wolfie?
Yes, I have my stepdaughter's little chihuahua.
Okay, that's because I'm like, either that or your mic is squeaking.
We're trying to up the cuteness level of the show here, even though we can't see it.
We're trying to bring in ratings.
Because that's what we're all about here, ratings.
I'm just curious whether or not we are finally starting to see the decline, or we will start to see the decline of the comic book film. Not that, I mean, the past 10 years haven't been fun.
Well, if not decline, they may take a pause.
True. I mean, I think that's going to go in general with all of the big, especially Disney's big franchises. And now that they actually have the Fox acquisition that will be going through over the next, what, they said by January 2019, it will be official. So they're going to have a whole big other slew of characters. And that might reinvigorate things a little bit if they can pull off. I mean, a Fantastic Four movie would draw people to it if it's done right. And possibly an X-Men reboot.
Ghost Rider?
Ghost Rider's been on the TV show.
Ghost Rider's also been in 2 movies.
We need more Ghost Rider.
Ghost Rider has been in 1 movie and then like an after-school special. Because that second movie was horrible.
Well, to be fair, though, if they did it similar to what they did in the TV show, in that kind of same vein, I think it would go over better.
Now, the rumors floating around with the Disney stuff is the Mandalorian TV show is not only, I mean, it's going to happen. I mean, we've seen the images. We've seen the weapon that is a throwback to Boba Fett's weapon from the animated holiday thing, from the holiday special. It's kind of cool. That actually made me go, ooh, squee. But I'm much looking forward to that show. And I guess I'm just going to have to get Disney streaming service because that's where it's going to be on. And I'm going to have to get it. There's no ifs, ands, or buts. But I guess the reports and or / rumors are that they're going to use that to gauge whether or not there is oversaturation of Star Wars right now. I really think it's not oversaturation. It was bad planning. Solo would have made money had it come out in December.
Yeah, they just tried to shove too much in too close together.
Yeah, they were going for that. Well, Star Wars comes out in May. Well, then put the trilogy, put the original or the big saga films out in May, and then use December as your story ones. Because I mean, those are basically all been put on hold. Because I guess there was an Obi-Wan movie in the works and a Boba Fett idea in the works and stuff like that. And I hope maybe some of the stuff that they had planned for the Boba Fett thing gets mixed into the Mandalorian TV show. We'll see. And on the other side of the Star series and movies and stuff, one of the showrunners, don't know who it was saying that the other shows will have a different tone and feel than Discovery. They'll all be different. And that they are going to spread them out so there isn't saturation. So don't expect that Picard series anytime soon. It's not like Discovery's going to end and Picard's going to start right up.
Well, no, I don't think that was ever in question. At least it wasn't to me.
Star Trek, the next generation.
Star Trek, the senior generation.
The Geritol version.
Oh, my lilies.
And then he uses a phaser.
You know what? I'm actually fanboy raging about the whole Henry Cavill Ben Affleck thing. The inside of me is like, why? They were great in those roles. Cavill looks like Superman.
He does.
It's like he was a great Superman. Let him be Superman. Kevin Smith was right. They need to be doing more Superman movies. Superman's your linchpin. Just like Iron Man is the linchpin of the MCU, Superman is that. I mean, he is the one that is going to draw. I mean, they should have done a sequel to Man of Steel instead of doing Batman versus Superman.
Yes, they should have.
And even then, the Batman versus Superman Ultimate Cut, so much better than the theatrical version. And I really do hope that we get to see some version of the Snyder Cut of Justice League, even though some of the stuff that was planned was never shot. The release of the information that Darkseid was supposed to be in Justice League, and that it was supposed to be during that flashback where they were talking about Steppenwolf and the attacks and stuff like that with the mother boxes, that was supposed to be Darkseid as well, and that Ares and Darkseid were supposed to have this huge battle in the flashback stuff. So it was like, that would have been awesome.
Woulda, but we didn't get it.
And some of the choices that were made for Justice League after Snyder left still kind of throw me. The color palette, why they chose to color correct and redo what Snyder had shot. Because if you look at the trailers of the end battle stuff, where everything had that blue dark tint and it felt ominous, and then what came up on screen was the neon reds and pinks and stuff, that made no sense. It looked better when it had the blue hues, the colder hues. But what are you going to do?
I'm going to petition.
Thinking about it, you're like, Warner Brothers, get your head out of your butts. I'll write the movie. I'm sure that the bunch of us can come up with a pretty good Superman movie.
Oh, you know, it'd be kind of...
Just retcon Doomsday.
You know, it'd be kind of funny.
That would be
They've done something
that
like
wasn't
this.
Lex, it was a corrupted clone.
That would be my first order of business. Retcon the Doomsday thing.
You know, it would be funny. Use if we had a bigger audience, we'd actually just have them have the audience tell us the things that would happen in the film. They've done that before with what was it, the Pokemon game, I think it was, where everybody just says, you know, do this, do that, and whatnot, and the game would try to work through the directions were being given to it.
Twitch?
Made for some really ridiculous stuff on Twitch, yeah.
Yeah, Twitch plays Pokemon. That was fantastic.
Ultimately, somebody put, I want to say, all the Harry Potter books, I think, into an algorithm, and then ran it to have it write its own Harry Potter book. It was a dumpster fire, but it was a hilarious dumpster fire. But yeah,
I didn't see it.
Oh, it's been out a little while. I think I saw it like a month or so ago. Anyway, I remember talking with a buddy of mine well over a year ago. It's like, if we were to write Superman, how would we actually do it? You know, what would you do? And his thought was, you know, instead of, you know, putting Kal-El in the rocket and firing him off, have Jor-El also go, but he basically acts as a kind of protector, and then something like Doomsday or whatever shows up, and Jor-El sacrifices himself to stop it, and, you know, Kal-El will be raised still in Kansas and such. And so the way he was taking that, I was like, you know, I kind of like that, where he was going with it. That would make for an interesting and engaging film while still being true to the source, you know?
Yep.
If not a film, the comic series.
Yeah. Well, Jor-El's back in the comic.
I mean, there's alternate realities, so anything can happen.
Now, Badger, you said you would retcon the Doomsday thing. They already did that. I just watched Batman vs. Superman today. When Lex is putting Zod and his own blood into the birthing thingy, whatever it is, the computer tells him that the council has forbade this and that they would not allow another abomination to nature be made.
Oh, see, I didn't catch that.
Which means the original Doomsday is still out there somewhere.
Yes. Bring him in.
Most likely attached to an asteroid somewhere, just waiting for it to get blown apart.
No.
Green Lantern, now's your cue. Go make a mistake.
Yes.
Lord knows many Green Lanterns make mistakes all the time.
I did actually like some. I did like some of the backstory for Doomsday, like Green Lantern Corps in ancient times. A lantern ran into him, had him, subdued, and then he broke free and stole the ring, and then proceeded to just wreck everything.
Wreck.
See, that's the thing. Is that can't happen. The ring will not obey a creature of fear and destruction.
But no, it runs off willpower, and by God, does Doomsday have willpower?
He has willpower, but the ring chooses its bearer.
I think it's because in this instance he had such massive amount of willpower, he overrode that programming.
While the ring will choose its bearer, other people have used the rings before. If I'm not mistaken, Batman also didn't Hal Jordan's.
Yeah, he also didn't kill the Lantern.
Green Arrow managed to produce an arrow from,
and it nearly killed him once.
Yeah, although I think, like I said, he didn't kill that Lantern when he took the ring. Of course, once he had the ring, it probably then died from asphyxiation, but still.
But yeah, I remember that issue where he made the arrow. Pardon my yawn. And then he asked Hal, he's like, does it hurt like that every time? Every time.
It's just draining. And that's all that your cynical will could come up with?
That's why I love Green Lantern. Everybody in that comic series is just a jackass. Hal Jordan, Kyle Rayner, Guy Gardner especially.
Well, Guy didn't used to be that bad, then he got hit over the head.
Yeah, and then Jon Stewart's just kind of like the moral center.
I like Jon Stewart.
Kind of like Hal? No, don't do it. Aw, okay.
Yeah, but Hal doesn't listen.
Neither does Guy Gardner.
Yeah, but Guy Gardner knows that Hal could beat the snot out of him.
I still think my favorite Guy Gardner moment is when he's saying goodbye to Batman, and he pulls down his pants and moons him at the Justice League Tower. It says "Bye Bye Bats" on his ass cheek.
I remember that the rebirth of Green Lantern was a great story arc.
Yes, it was.
Just watching Green Lantern flatten Batman with one punch.
Yep.
And everybody was like, "Ooh."
What's funny is as tough as Guy supposedly is, apparently he has a glass jaw.
Yeah, which is why he doesn't mess with Jordan. Because he knows Jordan would lay him out.
I think Batman has laid him out before.
Gardner?
Yeah.
I think everybody's laid Gardner out at least once.
It's not hard. You just gotta anger him. That's why he was in the Red Lanterns.
See, I kind of liked where they were going, where they kind of had that tension between Wonder Woman and Batman, because that's like canon in the books. We know that they've had a fling before, and I kind of dug it. I was like, you know what, go with that, run with it.
And they did it in the animated series.
Oh yes, they did.
And that was fun.
Yep.
And it worked. It was natural.
Yeah, it fit. I mean, it was just like, okay. It was all good.
And I like the in the animated series, like, so why don't we actually, hook up? And Batman just looks at her as like, you are an Amazon of power and a princess royalty, etc., etc., etc. I'm a guy who dresses as a bat with issues, lots of issues.
That was in Star-Crossed, wasn't it?
I think so.
Yeah,
it was a good episode. It's been a while.
The 2-part or the /movie/ 3-part episode or whatever it was when they had to go hide from the Thanagarian.
Yeah.
And Wally West, it's like Bruce Wayne, Clark Kent, just names everybody off. Wally West was like, "What? Wait a second! Our secret enemies are supposed to protect us, and those we love." He just names everybody.
But then they actually managed to use those identities, effectively.
Yeah.
Clark Kent suddenly running up, acting as a reporter, like he does. Also, like when Lex switched with Wally West, I can finally see who's behind the mask. Pulls the mask off. I have no idea who this is.
What was it, Michael? Michael? Yeah. What's his name from Smallville? Rosen? What's his name? He wants to play Lex Luthor again.
In what?
He just said he wants to play Lex Luthor again. I'd be like, go ahead, do it.
I'm sure. Yeah. Okay.
I would.
That's like Mark Hamill saying, "I want to play the trickster." Okay. Cool. Go ahead.
Well, here's a thought.
No problem.
Isn't supposed to be the current incarnation of Lex just a younger? He's junior. What if the Smallville guy plays senior?
He's not old enough to be Dingleberry's dad.
Are you sure?
Well, he could do it in Arrowverse.
That's I still find it funny that Diane Lane is only 6 years older than Ben Affleck, yet she was playing Clark Kent's mother. Ben Affleck's 49 and Diane Lane's like 52. So she's only like 3 years older than him.
Okay, I'm curious now. Let's see.
And she actually played the love interest in Hollywoodland to Ben Affleck's Superman. Or at least George Reeves. I've yet to see that movie all the way through.
Affleck's only 46.
Oh, that's right, 46. Yeah, he's my age. He's only a few months older than I am.
Well, speaking of 46, speaking of that, Michael Rosenbaum is also 46.
So he so could play Lex Luthor up against Cable's Superman.
Yep, sure can. I said, let it happen.
I said, do it. Do it now.
What's the guy that's currently playing Lex?
Eisenberg.
What's his name? Still has fucking what's his name? The one that played Superman in Smallville.
Tom Welling?
Yeah, Tom Welling, thank you. He's like the only one that still hasn't had a cameo yet in Supergirl. If they get him in for a cameo of some kind, I'd go back to Supergirl again.
I just watched the premiere. It was pretty good.
Was it?
Yeah, because now she's facing this new threat that's different from anything she has, where all these people that feel they're patriots are out to get all the aliens that are now part of Earth society. And so it's like a underground terrorist movement type thing, and they truly believe that they're the good guys.
Apparently Jesse Eisenberg is 35, so there's almost a 10-year difference between the two.
I don't approve Jesse Eisenberg.
It was an interesting take on Lex. It was more Joker than Lex Luthor, in my opinion, but
again, if you actually brought in the other guy, made him senior, and with a little bit of makeup, he can certainly look more senior. Could you imagine him showing up, pulling off his Lex, and being like, "Son, you're a complete and utter disappointment," because he would. That's the way that the comics have portrayed Lex's father.
Yes.
Honestly, Jesse Eisenberg probably should have been the Creeper.
Fireflies mentioned something about Goblin Slayer, as in folks failing to do their research about it. I'm going to admit I didn't do the research on
Me neither.
this either.
Missed the homework.
I didn't get the assignment. My dog ate my internet.
My YouTube ate my internet. My YouTube crashed, so I don't have any sources.
Hello there.
Hello there.
I have been doing that and driving my kids crazy. Going around just doing the Obi-Wan stuff.
That's the dadly thing to do.
It really, yeah. My daughter doesn't mind it so much as my son. He's just like, Dad, would you stop? So Force is Jedi's power. It's an energy field created by all living things. Surrounds us, penetrates us. And Idris Elba should play Obi-Wan Kenobi if they ever do a reboot.
That'd be interesting.
That'd be awesome.
Obi-Wan, how long were you on Tatooine? About a week.
Is it weird that part of me wants George Clooney to play Lex Luthor? Like he's all suave and nice in public and just screams at everyone behind the scenes.
That who does what?
George Clooney as Lex Luthor. He's all suave and nice in public, and behind the scenes he just screams at everyone.
I like the animated version of Lex. He's always this coldly calculating character, and that's really more true to the comic version of him as well. So, yeah, I can't picture him as being a screamer.
We got an interesting tribute in the Supergirl premiere to Mercy from the animated series and Otis from the movies. There are a brother and sister team, Otis and Mercy Graves, that worked for Lex and for Cadmus, and now they're part of this new terrorist group.
Mr. Luthor.
Huh.
Now,
Yeah,
I
that's-
liked Gene Hackman's Luthor. I really did, and I really enjoyed Kevin Spacey as Luthor. Unfortunately, Spacey has his issues.
It was good, and Hackman's is definitely fitting for the time. It's very 80s.
Yeah, 70s.
70s into 80s.
Yeah. But Gene Hackman just brought a gravitas to the role. It's kind of like Peter Cushing in Star Wars. You had a film full of semi-okay, well-known actors, and then you brought in Gene Hackman. I was like, all right, then. And same with Star Wars. It was like, okay, we got Alec Guinness. Okay, that's a name that we've seen before. But then Peter Cushing, he was just like, bam. Ricardo Montalban in Wrath of Khan, where everybody had to step their game up.
Yeah, it's just sometimes all it takes is the one person to change things up.
Yes. I don't know. What else is going on out there in the world? I really honestly haven't been looking and following anything.
So, I don't know if anybody watches Supernatural or not.
Nope.
I have, but I haven't watched in maybe 2 seasons now.
So Jensen Ackles, I'm not going to spoil anything, has a new role on Supernatural. He's not playing Dean.
He's playing Cinnamon.
He's
Cinnamon
playing,
Roll.
He's playing a character that was in season 5. But anyway, the showrunner has decided to let Jensen Ackles do his own thing with the character. So everything that you see is him writing his own lines, him doing what he wants to do with the character.
To be fair, they kind of do that anyway.
Yes, but this is a completely different character than Jensen Ackles is used to playing. Complete polar opposite. And it's I saw the first episode of the season, and it was freaking fantastic. He is doing a very, very good job for this 14th season. So they're doing a really good job with it. I enjoy where the storyline's going. They're doing a good job. Apparently, somebody is doing a new Batman origin series.
Because, we need another one.
Yeah.
Apparently, yeah. And Jack Bannon has been cast to play Alfred as like a 20-year-old something.
Yeah, it's a prequel series. It's called Pennyworth.
We don't need that.
No,
Why
you
not?
kidding? Pennyworth's amazing.
He's amazing, but I don't care.
Dude, have you seen Teen Titans Go to the movies? You have seen it?
No,
Oh.
not to the movies.
There is a scene in the film. I won't spoil too much because it's actually a really funny, well-made animated film where Batman is chasing the Teen Titans in the Batmobile. They disable the Batmobile and he flies out of the Batmobile on the Batcycle. They disable the Batcycle, he ends up on a scooter. They disable the scooter, he ends up on the bat skates that pop out of his shoes. When they disable the skates, out of the puff of smoke comes Batman riding on Alfred's shoulders, and Alfred is keeping up with them. It's quite funny.
So also apparently, Daredevil cast teases Kingpin's return is the driving force of season 3 for the new Daredevil season. I cannot wait. D'Onofrio to return.
He has to play the Kingpin in a Spider-Man movie.
He has said in a tweet that he wants nothing more than to face Tom Holland's Spider-Man.
Be awesome.
It's very far off from ever happening, but that would be fantastic.
Yes, it would.
Oh, and speaking of Spider-Man, Spider-Man Far From Home has finished shooting.
Mm-hmm.
So that's done.
He's got 3 costumes confirmed.
Jesus Christ.
Still trying to figure out Mysterio as a bad guy. Always found
That's
Mysterio.
who they chose?
Yes, Mysterio's the bad guy.
I'm okay with that because they've never shown Mysterio before.
Every time you see Mysterio on screen, he's always... I mean, he wears a fishbowl on his head.
Mysterious.
He's not even mysterious. He's a joke.
Hasn't that been like his thing in the Marvel comics for a while, that he's just a joke?
Pretty much. I mean, his whole thing was what? Movie visual effects to disorient and mess with Spider-Man.
Yeah.
And, then Spider-Man overcomes it.
I think a better villain would have been Kraven.
They're working on a Kraven storyline, but they're working on a Kraven movie on its own.
I know. I think Kraven would have been better, or even Scorpion. There's a lot of lore behind Scorpion.
I'm just glad they're not running the Green Goblin route already.
I know. I think they know Green Goblin's been done into death. So I think they're like, okay, Goblin's going to take a back seat, but he'll probably be in the third one if they make a third one.
We'll probably see the Jackal or the Lizard again,
or it could be the Sinister Six.
The Rhino.
I would be okay with it. I think we need to see another Doc Ock. I like Doc Ock. He's probably his best villain. His most intelligent villain.
I was gonna say, of his villains roster or rogues gallery, I would say Green Goblin's probably the best one he's got because they've put so much into him. The second would definitely be Doc Ock, and then everybody else just maybe Venom, but everybody else falls by the wayside.
Yeah, I mean, I agree. I mean, I think we end up talking about Spider-Man, I think, every time we do one of these. But at the same time, I mean, here's the thing. We can't rank... I don't think we can rank Spider-Man villains because, I mean, as easily like you can like Batman villains. Because with Spider-Man's villains, they have such rich backstories Doc Ock was, his mentor for a long period of time, I was going after college. And in other timelines, different times he was his mentor. But he had such a close relationship with Dr. Octavius in multiple storylines, and it became to the point where they hurt each other, is what they did, and they found out who each other's identities were. But I mean, if you look at the comics, when Spider-Man or Peter Parker died and Doc Ock took over his body, he tried to redeem himself, but he was still kind of a villain. And it was a really good, rich storyline. But he wanted to keep up the mantle of Spider-Man.
Oh, the reveal of the return of Peter Parker, where it's like Green Goblin's like, and there's nothing you can do. You can never redeem yourself. You're a terrible hero, but you were an excellent villain. That's really what you were good at. You should stick to that. And then Spider-Man responds with, but I will never at least have the loss of dignity by wearing a lady's purse. And then just Green Goblin glares at him and goes, "It's you, the one and only."
I didn't see that.
Also, Firefly points out that Mysterio is a visual effects master, and you should not underestimate him because he managed to trick Wolverine at one point.
Well, there's actually been 3 Mysterios. One of them was a mutant that was telepathic and could teleport.
Mutants. Mutants. We're all mutants. I don't think people realize that.
Yeah, I mean, it's just nature of evolution. We've all evolved in some way, shape, or form. Some of us in worse ways than others.
Watched a video yesterday that I hadn't seen before. I guess there was a Reddit or some kind of thing about why I hate Rob Liefeld. And someone made a YouTube video where they read the entire thing out with visuals from the books and all the artwork. It was hilarious. I don't know. We're talking comic books, so it just made me laugh. Because it was so true.
Rob Liefeld.
The first thing, the whole spiel about how Rob Liefeld has never, ever seen a real woman in real life. If this is what he thinks women look like. And why they're always on their tippy toes.
Well, we can kind of figure out why he did that, because it's the same reason why women wear, tall heels. It accentuates certain other aspects of their form.
But he never drew heels on anybody. He just drew them standing on their toes.
Yeah. I didn't say it was a good idea, what he was doing, just that you can see why, because just the nature of forcing the pose a certain way.
Speaking of pose, Star Wars Resistance, because if you have the Disney Go app on your Roku or your phone or whatever, you can watch the first 4 episodes. I'm up to episode 3. It's actually not a bad show. It's finding its footing. It's definitely set in the Star Wars universe. You got Phasma and all those guys, and it's pretty sweet. And interesting to see where they go with it, because the kid's a bumbling idiot. Completely bumbling idiot. And it's really cool to see a Star Wars series. It's kind of like Deep Space Nine was cool to see a Star Trek series without a spaceship, where they were on a space station. It was different. This has no Jedi.
Well, yeah, isn't it set after?
Yeah, it's set after. It's set. Oh, and it's only, what they say, 10 months before The Force Awakens.
Yeah, so Luke has already gone and done his exile thing.
Yeah, this is less than. I mean, it's going to lead and cross over with The Force Awakens. It will actually keep going past the end of The Force Awakens.
So
and into The Last Jedi. Yeah. So it's gonna keep going that way with it. It's set very close to the events that happen in the Force Awakens. So it's pretty. I mean, it'd be fun to see where they go with that and keep it on a lighter note.
If they can, I mean,
I am loving the rumor coming out about the Star Wars stuff in Episode 9 as well.
Oh, what's the rumors now?
That the Emperor will somehow make an appearance. Which I'm actually, with some of the way they're talking about it, that it will be a holocron-esque kind of thing that Kylo Ren is in touch with.
Well, at least that would make some more sense. And it would be neat to get Ian McDermott back in there.
Yep. Maybe not so much with the whole Force Ghost thing and the ability, the Force Ghost having the ability to fight, blah blah blah, but. And we should be seeing a teaser trailer sometime around the Super Bowl, and then the full trailer at Star Wars Celebration.
It comes out next December, right?
Yes. It's over a year from now. But I mean, we've got movies to tide us over until then. I mean, we've got all the DC films going out in the next 5 or 6 months. We got Marvel movies coming out. We're going to have more DC movies, some other sci-fi stuff in between.
Does that mean Resistance could rehash what happened in the Poe Dameron comics?
No, because Poe isn't in the show. He was in the first episode. He gave this kid an assignment and then left the kid to his own devices. Now, we have seen a lot of Phasma. She is definitely in the show. So maybe they'll flesh Phasma out a bit more than we've already seen. And why did they cut the scene where Finn throws Phasma under the bus? Did you guys see that from the deleted stuff from The Last Jedi?
Yes, because that's when she, as I recall, then she just like, crap, they're starting to believe him, kills them all.
Yep, she just slaughters them all. Why did they cut that? I think because it ended Phasma. The way he kind of blasted her there, yeah, she would have died. And I think they want to keep her for one more movie.
Well, not necessarily. I mean, I think, as I recall, they show very clearly that the armor deflects blaster bolts.
So I'm pretty sure she would survive in a fire.
Yeah, I mean, her eye's probably going to get singed badly.
But wasn't she on that gigantic... What was the gigantic boomerang ship?
Snoke ship, yes, she was on
the
that.
ship wasn't completely destroyed.
No.
But it was scuttled.
It went bye-bye.
No,
Didn't blow up.
It didn't blow up. It was not completely destroyed, but it was declared a total loss, and they scuttled it. That is the official canon.
I thought it was like beyond gone.
Okay.
No, it got split not quite in half.
She was in a trash compactor at the end of The Force Awakens.
They didn't turn it on.
Yes, but they put her in a trash compactor, and yet she still got off a Starkiller base.
She's going to be like that one character from Briscoe County Jr. that dies at the end of every episode he's in, yet still reappears later.
She's freaking Kenny. Oh my god, you killed Phasma! You bastard!
Briscoe County Jr. did it first.
But no one remembers that show but you.
Well, then y'all suck.
Wasn't that one of Sam Raimi's afternoon thingies? Wasn't he involved with that one?
Yeah, and it stars
Bruce Campbell.
Yeah, Bruce Campbell, and it's awesome.
I believe me, I used to watch them. I watched them all.
It's a steampunk cowboy show with time travel.
I used to watch all those. I watched Xena, I watched Hercules, I watched Cleopatra.
No.
29 or whatever
Briscoe
it was.
County Jr. is above all of those. Briscoe County Jr. was a primetime show originally.
True.
And it's got production value way higher than those shows most of the time.
Yeah, but it still had that Raimi feel to it.
But it's so good.
Everything Raimi did has the Raimi feel. Everything still feels like the Evil Dead, no matter what he did. Even Spider-Man to a point. He has a very signature look to his films and the way he moves the camera.
Actually, I think Briscoe County Jr. was created by Carlton Hughes. I don't know if how involved Rainey was.
Look it up. We have the internet at our availability.
Unless
Until it goes
it's
down again.
Until it goes down.
Created by Jeffrey Boehm and Carlton Hughes. And it also had Julius Carey in it. Sure enough.
Sure enough. Why are they making another Rambo movie?
I don't know. I really
Because
wish
now he's a cowboy.
Last Blood, baby.
just I've said it many times on this show. The way they ended it was perfect. Leave the man alone. He went.
I
hard.
don't mind Rocky continuing in the Creed series. Don't mind that at all because he's playing the mentor role now. He went from the fighter. He is now Mickey.
Yeah, it works.
It works, and I want to see Creed 2. I mean, I thought the first one was awesome. But Rambo, it's like another Die Hard movie. We don't need another Die Hard movie.
Yeah, like I said, it was a perfect way to wrap up, the kind of the spiritual healing of this guy who had gone through hell basically and had been mistreated when he came home the first time around, and he didn't even actually go home. He was a wanderer, and then by the end of this final film that's been out, he finally has made enough peace with himself to go home.
And I gotta say, someone was smart enough back when they did First Blood to cut and reshoot some of the stuff because Rambo was supposed to die in the first movie.
Yes, I think that's based on the book, wasn't it?
Yeah,
Yeah, but
Troutman was supposed to do it.
Stallone had enough pull because of Rocky and stuff to say, no, you don't need to die.
You gotta make sure he lives so we can do a sequel.
Gotta make money.
Gotta take it and make the money. Yeah.
Well, no, I think he felt it was a better ending. He wanted Rambo to be a bit of a hero or something. I don't know.
He was an anti-hero. It wasn't until the second one where he was like the hero.
Well, think about it. If you kill him in the first Rambo film, that's just basically reinforcing what the public perception was of Vietnam vets at the time anyway, that they're unhinged, whatever, they just have to be killed. Like, there's no way to deal with them otherwise.
True.
So, yeah, having him survive that was not a problem. The sequels were a little odd, but okay, whatever. It's very 80s. Using a T-72 to take out a hind. What? You can't do that. You can't load, drive, and fire. Sorry. I had a moment.
You had a moment.
Because if you could do all of it at one time, why do you need the rest of the tank? Actually, I suppose arguably you could kind of make it work, but it'd be a kind of a bad idea. You use like a helmet-controlled turret or something, Except for the fact you can't turn behind you. Have anybody watched Disenchantment?
I've seen the first couple episodes.
The first couple episodes are a little... They're okay. Once you get past that, though, it starts to really build on stuff, and of course it's a Matt Groening series, so there's definitely lots of little side jokes sprinkled liberally everywhere. I've been enjoying it.
I fell asleep in the first episode. Then again, I was watching it at 1 o'clock in the morning, so I have not watched any more of it. What's really sad is when it came to Netflix stuff, I binge watched all of Iron Fist, like literally watched the entire series in a day. But I think I stopped on Luke Cage season 2, episode 3, and I haven't gone back.
Oh God, no! No.
I gotta keep watching.
You gotta keep watching, dude.
It was kind of meh.
No. Oh, Luke Cage is still my favorite series. I like Daredevil.
I will finish it. I will finish.
I love Luke Cage.
You know what I did binge?
Her comment. Did you notice Misty's comment when she met up with the two in Iron Fist? She said, "I've seen what Luke's become, and I don't like it.
Yes.
I don't like what I see." That'll make all the more sense once you finish Luke Cage.
Now, I did binge Jack Ryan on
How was that?
Amazon. I binged it, dude. It was like, oh, I wonder if I'm gonna like this. And next thing I know, I was all the way through it because I did not want to stop watching.
I'm
was
the
good.
same way with what did I just start watching again? I can't remember.
Oh, and after watching that, if Marvel does not give the role of Mr. Fantastic to now right up my right, it was right there. I had it. Krasinski. If they do not give him the role of Mr. Fantastic, then they are losing because he needs to play Mr. Fantastic. You know who needs to play Lex Luthor?
Who?
Bruce Willis.
Huh.
I don't see it.
The very grizzled Lex Luthor.
A really old Lex Luthor.
Whatever.
I feel you're a little disgruntled by that.
I think he'd do a really good job.
I think he'd be fine.
I like Bruce Willis, but I no, I don't know. No, that would seem too much like a 90s choice. That makes any sense.
Maybe.
I was saying, you're about to say, and you're out.
No, not at all. Actually, you know what? I'm just thinking, because as we're talking about casting somebody, and there's all these casting rumors of James Bond and all these other characters that people are moving on from. Did you see the Piers Morgan tweet about what
Piers Morgan is an idiot.
What's the guy's
What was
Daniel Craig.
Daniel Craig.
Yeah.
The photograph.
Tried to emasculate Craig for holding his kid or something.
Just
for being a dad.
For having in the little snuggly thing that you carry in front.
Which is how you carry an infant. The dude was being a dad. And Piers Morgan, who I'm pretty sure has never seen a naked woman, let alone been with one, so he wouldn't know what fatherhood is about. The fact that he called him out on it and then said emasculated Bond. I had about 7 different tweets responding.
He
to
has
that
4 kids and has been married twice.
Yeah, well, it makes sense.
Well, didn't Daniel Craig shoot back?
No, I don't know if Daniel Craig shot back, but I know Chris Evans did.
A bunch of people shot back.
A lot of people shot back at him because in this world that we have today, the greatest thing that a man can do is be a father and actually be a father. Not just a dude that was like, okay, yep, knocked you up and here we go, and that's it. The dude was being a dad. And that was awesome. I saw that. I was like, that is an awesome photo. It's like, you know what? Dudes, I mean, that's the sign of a real man who steps up and says, you know, take care of my kid. Because as a father who was a stay-at-home dad and raised my 2 from birth up to now, the 6 years later, when I see it still to this day bothers me. When I see these commercials of the bumbling idiot dad and the woman who has to keep calling her husband to make sure the baby's all right. What is it? Oh, there's a Google commercial about it where Alexa keeps literally reminding this dude what to do. It drives me nuts. It's like, you know what? We're not complete idiots. Men are not complete idiots. We can take care of babies. We do have instincts too.
The perception has been slowly changing over the years just because the nature of the workplace has changed, but it's been very slow.
Drives me to no end. The whole bumbling idiot father that has no clue. The dude that's changing the baby's diaper on the countertop. Oh, look what I did, baby. Oh. And it's like the house is always a mess when the mother comes home from work because the dude was in charge of the kids for the day. pisses me off.
To be fair, the Mark Wahlberg and Will Ferrell, I can't remember the name of what they are.
Stepdads.
Stepdad. No, was it Stepdads? Yeah, those are actually kind of funny. I enjoyed those ones. They were bumbling idiots, but
it's a comedy, so I mean,
yeah.
Firefly, you think the stereotype of the bumbling idiot father doesn't gain more complaints?
Doesn't garner it.
Yeah, it doesn't garner more complaints.
Probably does, but not as much.
No, because we're not allowed to complain. In this day and age, men are not allowed to complain about anything.
I think that's a complaint. You need to stop that.
Yes.
What's wrong with the 90s? Well, there's a lot wrong with the 90s, but there's also a lot of cool things from the 90s. So, got to take the good and the bad.
And there you have the facts of life.
I see what you did there.
Uh-huh. Girls.
Thinking on perceptions, yeah, public perceptions are just changing all around for various things just because social media has made it easier. Like I've seen videos of, well, like your case, guys who are being dads and they get praised as well. They should. I don't see why they wouldn't be, but he was doing a good job.
Yeah, I mean, I have seen certain things where a lot of men have backlashed against the term of, oh, my husband is babysitting the kids. No, I'm taking care of my kids. It's like, I'm not babysitting anything. These are my kids. I'm taking care of them. And I've seen a lot of people get pretty irate over that one. I belong to a Facebook group or a Facebook. I follow a Facebook page on Facebook, of course, called Life of Dad. And it's really funny is there are women that follow the page as well. And they comment every once in a while. And every once in a while, there's one. There's always the one that comes in. She's explaining stuff. Or woman-splaining stuff. As if we're too dumb to understand it. And what's really funny is the guys will usually hold their tongues. And not say anything. It's other women that will unleash hell on these. The one or two comments it's like, I think one of the best ones was, how young is it too young for a kid to do a certain act or do something with the family or go out and see something? And a couple of guys jokingly said certain stuff, blah, blah, blah. And this one woman came in and wrote like a 5-paragraph diatribe on why men shouldn't be doing this and shouldn't be doing it. And the dudes, there was a whole lot of laughy emojis and stuff on it, but the guys were pretty, whatever. It's your opinion, and you're allowed to have it. But the women, wow, bunch of catty people out there. And I found that very comforting to see that there are women that stand up for the dads out there.
Well, yeah, like I said, the perceptions are changing. Just society in that regard is changing in general. There are more men who stay at home, raise their kids. It's fine. As long as the kids are being raised, right?
Yep.
Instead of being left to fend for themselves, go scrounge for food like the cats do. This doesn't end well.
All the time.
I went uphill in the snow both ways with no shoes in July.
Now, you know what? I love when we get on social stuff that's not political. It's cool this way though. Personal anecdotes. When I see, you know how we joke, I joke and people joke about millennials and all that kind of stuff being whatever. And to be honestly, I know quite a few millennials, and your heads are screwed on pretty straight. You guys just got you got the shitty end of the stick. I'll give you that one. You guys really did come into a time where there was so much transition and things happened so fast that you couldn't catch your breath, and now you're sitting here with the shitty end of the stick going, what the hell? Understand it. But it's the generations that followed you that are really screwed. I have a
disease.
I have a 12-year-old son, and I have no idea what it is with that generation in that the aughts, as I guess they would be called, because he was born in 2006. They have no drive whatsoever. None. And it's his generation that makes me really fear for the. I mean, when it comes to millennials, at least you guys are passionate about stuff and you really want change. These guys could care less. All they want to do is sit around and do absolutely nothing.
Well, he's 12. It's
No, dude. The apathy when it comes to any of it. If the W, it's like an entire generation of Maynard G. Krebs. And I totally just dated myself with that one. Who knows who Maynard G. Krebs is? Character that was played
Is that
by,
the kid from Dobie Gillis?
Yes. That anytime anybody mentioned the word work, he would
ask
freak
me
out.
how I know that.
Okay. Well, either
How do
way,
you know that?
when it comes
TV Land.
when it comes to work ethic and work and wanting to work to gain something, there is nothing there. It is literally he expects everything handed to him. When I mean serious, and his friends are the same way. They have no respect for anybody, and they literally expect everything handed to them. And when I tell him, no, you've got to work for it, I get the look like, what do you mean I have to work for it? It's like a complete blank stare. It's like, no, man, you got to work for it. And his friends are the same way. It's like, can we go? It's like, no, why not? What do you mean, why not? All this stuff has to get done. You can't just go and do this and have fun. Life is not about having fun all the time.
Well, I should point out that when I was, a wee lad, I was pretty apathetic too. In about that age range. Granted, I came from a farm and still had some chores that were given to me, but I didn't want to do them. I never want to do them. I still don't want to do them.
But you still did them, right?
I did them because my mother would murder me.
Okay, exactly. This is here's your chore. I have other stuff to do. I want it done when I come back. 2 hours later, go. Everything that was supposed to get done isn't done. He's sitting with on his butt watching TV, and I'm like, what happened? Well, I didn't want to do it. And the consequences to it didn't seem to bother you. And when the consequences then come to pass, all of a sudden I'm the bad guy. Like, how dare I take? And his friends are the same way. I talk to the parents, and they're like, I don't get it. I remember being a kid. I remember not wanting to do it, but doing it because I was afraid of what would happen if I didn't. There is no fear for what happens, and then it's, oh, I'm the bad guy. You took my toys away. You took my tablet away. I'm not allowed to play the Xbox. I'm the bad guy. No, you didn't do what you were supposed to do, so I'm not going to let you do what you want to do. That's the consequence to it. So it's different. I remember those days too. I didn't want to do my chores.
I didn't want to pull weeds in the backyard, but I still did.
I didn't want to mow the lawn. I didn't want to wash the dishes. We didn't have a dishwasher. You guys are lucky. Well, you got it. I mean, it's like you're so lucky. You only have to wash. Because I make him wash the pots and the pans and stuff that don't go in the dishwasher. It's like, you have no idea what it's like to come and every night have to wash the dishes.
You can fix that.
Don't feed them?
Well, no. I mean, that's a little extreme, man.
I mean, that's what I would do.
Bring it down a notch. Maybe 2 notches.
That's what mine did. He's like, you don't like what's put in front of you? No. Well, then you're going to starve. What?
I was going to go with more like, don't use the dishwasher.
Well, I've done that. I have done that a couple of times. But,
here, I'm going to throw this out to you.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you obviously can take it or leave it. Around about that time, one of the things that my mother had us do is we actually had a list of chores that were assigned to us, and we had to get them done. And this happened regularly, like clockwork. You had to do it. So maybe that's something you could try. So that don't use the dishwasher. You have to wash them by hand, and you have to do this every night for X whatever time.
Yeah, I don't want the chore to be a punishment.
No. It's not really a punishment. You're going to be right there helping him.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, the more often they do it, the more time they get on their video games or.
Yeah, that kind of stuff. I mean, we've tried all of it. I've tried this kind of stuff. But it's the respect side of things. Now,
I can't help you there.
In my household, and this is where it comes down to. And I know one of his friends. I'm not gonna. I don't want to get too personal on this one with people because I don't want to delve into other people's lives. But she's a single mother, and she's got a 12-year-old boy who has no respect for her whatsoever. To the point where, in my presence, when I've heard him say things to his mother, I got between the two of them. I was like, "You talk to a woman like that in my presence again, and I will make sure that you regret it." And I've told my son the same thing because when it comes to me, he'll talk back, but it's different when he talks to his mother. And I was like, when was the last time you saw me talk to any woman that way, let alone my wife or my mother or stuff like that? It never happens. I was like, I will beat you into the ground until you can't. I mean, and you will pray for a straw so you can breathe. It's like, you do not treat women this way, and it scares me because whereas there was a time where I was like, you know what? The whole idea that boys are being raised a certain... No, because I know these parents are trying their best, and I know I try my best to instill into them, especially when it comes to women, that you respect them. You don't talk to them and treat them a certain way. And I try to lead by example. I never yell at my wife. We never fight. And if we do get in arguments, we don't do it around the kids. And we very rarely get in arguments as it is. I have a very awesome relationship when it comes to that way. But it's like, in front of my kids, I show her the utmost respect and all that kind of stuff. And I make sure that they see it, that this is how you treat a woman. And vice versa. She treats me with respect. It's cool. But it was just like, oh, I want to beat on them.
Just an idle thought to occur
all
to
these
me.
Kids.
Because one of my nephews, he's going to be 16 or here pretty soon. I think I'm terrible with keeping track of those. Anyway, when he was younger, I guess he kind of had a similar attitude, behavior, as it were, and he just would quote unquote lose himself in, you know, tablet games and whatnot. And that's when his mother discovered a $600 worth of charge for games because he didn't realize it. Yeah, she was not happy. Anyway, I think just as a thought here, maybe what is going on is just this kind of their focus is in other areas. You know, I want to do this, I want to do that. You know, they're focusing on using their tablets or whatnot. There's social media, maybe. I don't know on your kids, obviously.
No social media.
You raise them. You raise them your way.
Media.
But there's these other things that just distract them and keep them focused on that. Which again is not necessarily a bad thing, but maybe that's why this upcoming generation kind of behaves in that manner. They don't have the same social connection, maybe? They
don't have the same social connection. Well, okay, in this day and age, because of the dangers to children, they can't go outside and play the same way we used to.
No, not at all.
Seriously, I know people that have had the cops called on them because they let their kids play in the backyard without them right there.
Which is so stupid because statistically it's safer than it ever was.
I can tell you for a fact right now that in Ohio, there is a huge trafficking ring, and kids are missing. And
I'm not saying that they're not, but statistically the number of missing kids is way down.
It's true. It's the bell curve thing.
Yeah, but but still, I know parents that have had the cops called on them because their kids were outside playing and the parents weren't right there. And I'm not talking little tiny kids like 4 and 5 years old. I'm talking like 10, 11-year-old kids. When I was 11 years old, I was literally miles from home in the woods by myself or with a friend, and we were out just doing whatever.
If I remember correctly, at 9 or 10, I rode the subway into DC with my mother. She went to work, and I went to the museums for the day.
Yeah. And it was just like, you can't do that nowadays. And it's different for them because when parents are working and it's like, I can't be there outside with them all the time. I can't helicopter them. And I don't want to helicopter them, but I don't know. It's just, you're right. There are social factors. There are societal factors, not
regional
social
factors.
When it comes to regional factors and all that kind of stuff that come into play, as well as laws and the way people are perceived. and how you're supposed to raise your kids and what you can and can't do anymore. There's that kind of stuff. So yes, they are more in tune with this other stuff. I mean, I was really thinking about taking my son and his friend out to the woods. I say, okay, here's a pocket knife and some matches, and I'll see you in a day.
And death battle.
Because you know what? No, I mean, you got to survive. It was like,
Tell
you
'em
got to
what you
go.
need.
Go ahead and survive. I mean, I could do it. I would just go find some place and I'd camp not too far from them, but I would just observe to see how long it took before they were both bubbling and crying in tears and with nothing.
That seems a little extreme from my viewpoint. I mean, if you don't show them ahead of time. I
Yeah,
guess.
I mean, I would. I mean, yeah. I mean, I know I could survive at least a week and fend for myself out there. And I mean, this is because as a kid, I did this kind of stuff. I could light a fire. I knew how to start a fire. I knew how to build something to shelter and stuff because we did it all the time. These kids don't have that advantage anymore.
But they also don't have an
No?
excuse not to know because we got plenty of, like YouTube videos when
Sure.
it's not down that you could watch this. Like, okay, how do I do this?
Well, which is more fun? Watching a YouTube video on how to do that kind of stuff or watching somebody else play with toys? I'll never get that one.
No, I don't get that. But no, the how-to videos are useful
True.
just because I use that on working on my car.
Yeah, me too.
I had no idea.
I use it for like tutorials and stuff for Photoshop and all those kind of things.
Yeah, so like if it's showing you how to start a fire, doing that whole spinning stick thing, which I still can't do for jacket. Yeah, that's a good thing. That's something they probably should know how to do.
Yeah.
I mean,
It would be.
the knowledge is available.
I think we need. I think as a society, we need to push some of that more. We need to say, okay, you know what? These kids need to be able to survive without the phone in their hand, without having the world's knowledge literally at their fingertips. We need to teach them. I mean, you know how many kids don't know how to change a tire?
Oh, a lot. My junior high actually taught that. Firefly also teach them how to ranger roll clothes.
Uh-huh. But yeah, change a tire. I mean, changing an oil on newer cars is not as it's not as easy as it used to be. I understand that kind of stuff, but
A tire's a tire.
But then again, I can't sit there and say, well, you always want to play video games, because what do I do in my spare time when I need to blow off some steam? I go shoot stormtroopers. I do play video games.
But you also work.
Yes. Be interesting to see what happens in the next few years. He's just gearing me up because I know the teenage years are coming, and I know teenagers are literally the dumbest people on the planet. And it's no fault of their own. It is actually it is scientifically proven that there is something that happens in the male teenage brain that they literally cannot connect action and consequence.
I cannot brain.
Yeah, they can't brain. They really just impulsively do things, and it's just because of the way the chemicals in their body are shifting as they go through puberty and all that kind of stuff. That's been scientifically proven. I wish I had the studies where I could just pull them up and say, you got to read this. It's hilarious. So when a teenage boy between the ages of 13 and 18 says, when you ask the question, why did you do that? And they answer, I don't know. They really don't. They have no clue.
Out of curiosity, did you put like time limits on tablet time or something?
Oh, yeah, I have them where an hour a day, hour and a half a day. And I have it set on the thing. It shuts down. I have a parental software. But it's the video games. Every turn it's, did you get your homework done? Oh no, I forgot it in school. This is another one. What do you mean you forgot?
I've used that line.
Yeah, but this is a daily thing. And then 5 minutes later, can I play the Xbox? No. Why not? Responsibility, your homework. I'm the bad guy though.
It could be an early starter. Maybe that's why they're behaving this way. I don't know. I mean, I'm certainly no psychologist or
no, me neither.
whatever.
Being a parent sucks sometimes. There are days where though it's the greatest thing in the world. Could not imagine. I really don't remember life before being a parent. I'm sure it was there. I'm sure I had fun, but I don't remember it. It's only been 6 years. I mean, I've got a stepson and 2 kids, 2 of my own, so it's like,
You don't remember, but you know who does remember?
Pepperidge
Pepperidge
Farm.
Farms.
Pepperidge
remembers.
Farms.
Petridge Farms remembers.
Speaking
Tom
of,
remembers the 90s.
speaking of foods, well, switching gears,
Go ahead.
and because Alistair's not present to tell us about it, stupid internet being eaten, there's a series that he actually cottoned me onto called Binging with Babish, which
Oh,
is
yes.
actually really cool stuff.
Yes, it is. He's a little arrogant, comes off a little snooty sometimes, but it's good.
Maybe I never caught that. I think he plays it up for the
I think
for
so
the
too.
camera. And it'd be kind of fun. I don't know, maybe bring him on the show. That'd be cool too. But I'd like to actually send like a recipe and say, hey, do your take on it. But I think he's been doing mostly off of movies and
Yes,
TV shows.
he made like the Bob's Burger. Which one? The one with the wheels, didn't he?
I think he's done a couple different Bob's Burgers things. He did the Ulta Burger, which was a terrible idea. I mean, he managed to make it work, but it was still terrible. You're wrapping a burger within a burger, and the burger has the buns on the inside. Yeah, it was weird.
It's burgerception.
Anyway, it is burgerception. If you don't like it, you're a chump, apparently.
There's no wrong way to make a burger unless it has fruit.
Well, it was kind of interesting, some of the things he's done. He did like the most expensive meal he ever did, which was it cost $500 worth of meats. It was the all meat meal, and he came to the conclusion that was a terrible idea. He couldn't even finish it. He couldn't even finish the one bite he took.
Really?
It was literally every meat, from snake to gator to say, yeah. I realized that this didn't work out because some of these things require you to actually to stew them for a while to get the flavor to work, and yeah.
I like Is It Worth It? Those guys are pretty funny. Did you ever watch that one?
Is it worth it?
Yeah, the series. The guys go to 3 or 4 different restaurants. They pick a food, cookies, steak, French fries, and they go to different restaurants that offer the same food at different price points. And they'll find a place that sells like a taco for $3, and then they'll find someplace else that sells a taco for like $10, and then another one that sells it for like $40. It's like, is it worth it?
I kind of did something like that years ago, just for fun. Like, do a comparison between what was it? It was between Burger King, McDonald's, and Wendy's. I did not do Hardee's because they had just changed their menu, so they had the Monster Burger stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So it was supposed to be similar burgers, just cheeseburgers, plain, and do taste test, which was the best one.
Wendy's.
Wendy's was the best, and then it was Burger King, and then McDonald's.
Yep. Now, French fries is the exact opposite. McDonald's will always come first in their French fries.
I think that was much more subjective. But anyway, is it worth it? Sounds very similar to that.
Yes, is it worth it? But they go for price points, and I mean, it's like when you is a $8 steak as good as a $40 steak, that kind of thing. And sometimes the cheaper ones win out. They're like, okay, I think, especially when it came to like the pastries and cookies and stuff, there's always seems to be more of the cookie for less money, or more of the whatever it is for less money. The higher up you go, it's a smaller, it's more like a bite, and I can't believe I spent that much money on a bite. It's like, really? And I honestly think the cheaper foods usually look more appetizing.
Yeah, I wouldn't disagree with that. I mean, you would think when it comes to like a steak is a steak, right?
Oh, no.
No, it obviously isn't. But
No.
you would think that.
You would.
It's like if you take what's a good example? 5-ounce round steak.
Okay.
If you're just taking it through the same type from any restaurant, theoretically you should be getting the same thing, provided they're preparing it the exact same way. It's going to vary based on the steer it comes from, how that steer was raised, and then of course how they actually cook it. If you have the same guy cooking in all 3 places, for example, then it should taste the same. But not everybody actually cooks quite the same way. They don't have the same heat, etc., etc. when you're doing the thing what they're doing, where they just go higher up, yeah, I imagine that the reason why it costs more and then people just convince themselves it's better is because they spent that much money and they don't want to admit that it was bad.
Now, when it comes to steak, I have gotten spoiled. My wife spoiled me because you ever hear of the store Earth Fare?
I can't say as I have.
It's kind of Whole Foods-esque, sort of almost, but not as pretentious. No one says namaste when you walk in the door and all that kind of crap.
What? Is that a thing?
Oh, yes, it's a thing. You've never been to a Whole Foods?
No, I have
Dude,
not.
you want to walk out... If you don't want to throat punch at least 4 people in a Whole Foods, you're not getting the experience. But Earth Fare, their steaks are phenomenal. I don't know what they do to the meat or what it is, but first, I mean, they're just so tender. Oh my goodness, so tender.
Wait, do they actually prepare?
My wife says kangaroo. No, they don't prepare it. It's raw, but they give you. She brought home, and they had a really big sale on beef one day, and she brought back a few steaks. And I was like, "Please tell me you didn't spend a lot of money, because that was a lot of meat." And she's like, "No, actually, I didn't." So threw them on the grill. I left them out. You gotta, if you cook a steak, you gotta remember, leave it out to get to room temperature. Do not try to cook a cold steak; it will not work right. Bring it up to room temperature so it's warm. Throw it on the grill, 3 minutes each side, whatever. Get yourself a nice rare or you do about 4 or 5, 6 minutes for medium. Pull it off of there. But these things melted in your mouth. They were so good. It was like perfectly aged, perfect. I mean, it was so good. And it's just like I've gotten steaks from other places and just nowhere near as good.
It may be they're getting it from like local farmers, possibly.
I know it's all grass-fed beef.
Yeah, it changes the nature of when
really
because
does.
when you're getting, and granted, there's nothing wrong with going from getting meat from steers that were raised in feed yards, because that's the vast majority of them. Getting ones that are raised kind of more locally, as it were, like say my family, it's definitely a different taste.
And if they're not aged properly, I don't people understand that. I mean, steaks have to be aged. If you were to go out and like just kill a cow and slice a hunk off of it and start cooking it, it is not going to taste right. It's going to be chewy. It's going to be tough. It's going to be all kind. They got to be aged right. It's got to. I mean,
well, again, it also depends on just how that steer was raised. Is based on its feed, etc., etc. Which is interesting. I've had a conversation about veganism and whatnot at work today.
I'm sorry.
No, it was actually not a bad conversation by any means. Just one person there was saying that she's vegan, and the one other person who's a Brit asked about it. So what, what's the whole thing about being vegan? And she explained, "Well, I've just seen things that I can't unsee, and it really bothered me, and so I just can't disconnect that from eating meat. So I just have moved more towards being vegan." It's like, that's fair.
Does she use honey? Because honey is not vegan.
She knows. Yeah, she actually pointed out a few things. Like, yeah, there's some things that I, kind of bend on. Dairy, for example.
Really?
For the most part.
There's honey and 2 other things that you wouldn't think of as being not vegan that are
gum.
Vegan. No, I'm trying to remember. I was just reading an article on it the other day, but I don't remember, so never mind.
My brother had said it was gum.
So she's not hardcore vegan. She's more.
She's not the aggressive vegan.
She's like extreme vegetarian.
Kind of, sort of, yeah. She likes like cheese pizza or vegetarian pizza, whatever. Cheese is fine.
She's not a vegan.
She's not.
She moved away from. Well, she moved away from drinking milk, just again because they put, she's saying that they just put hormones in them, and the way they take away the calves, and I'm like, well,
does she realize cheese comes from milk?
Yeah, she knows.
Yeah,
she's not an idiot by any means. She was just explaining in a nice, calm manner. This is, why I'm doing it, and I was like, no, yeah, that's fair. I mean, by all means, have at it. More meat for me.
Yep. Now, I'll agree with her. There are, I mean, the hormone issue in milk and stuff is there.
Although they are moving away from aspects of that, like the chickens, for example, where they used to vaccinate the eggs.
Yeah,
they're actually moving away from that because it's like not providing the benefit that they
were
think it is.
hoping for. No.
Well, I mean, they've been doing it for years, and it's like they're finding it's causing some other problems. So Tyson is a big mover away from that. They still vaccinate the chickens as they're growing up, which I think is a fair thing to do.
Yeah, because chickens can get some really nasty bacterial blah blah blah.
But otherwise, doing it rather in the egg, it's a little extreme, guys.
I mean, there are certain, as a meat eater, as a full-blooded carnivore, well, omnivore, I'll eat just about everything. You put it in front of me, as long as it's not moving, I'll eat it.
Papa? No, you're fine.
Yeah. There are certain things I was like veal. I will never eat veal. Ever. It is a cruel, inhumane, just foul meat.
Well, see, it's kind of a similar principle, though. Like this gal, there's just certain things that she's just, no, I can't ever do that because, again, can't disconnect it. Again, fair. She's not an aggressive person about it by any means.
I mean, if the cow grew up, had a life, was out in the field eating grass, and you decide, yep, it's time for you to go, that's fine with me. That cow lived a life. It's all good. But when you take a calf that literally, just was weaned or not even weaned and is still being milk fed, tie it to a small little whatnot in the middle of your farm with the rest of them, and they can't move, they can't do anything, they're literally chained with a 4-foot chain. Nope. Sorry. Not doing it. It's funny, though, is I will eat lamb, though.
I had lamb. It's all right.
It's got to be cooked right. If you don't prepare it right, it's kind of bleh.
I guess I've never had it right. But then again, I tried to fix it myself. Ground lamb, I think it was.
Oh, no. Got to do legs. Or chops.
Yeah, fair enough.
And they got it, again, if you don't, I mean, I don't think I've cooked lamb very often. I've only cooked it twice. I messed it up one time royally where it was completely inedible. The other time it came out okay.
Badger's being very quiet.
Yeah. Oh, if we're talking about steaks, how many people put butter on their steak?
Me.
I do not.
Never.
Oh, dude. And
You have to while you're cooking.
You have to. No, man. And when you're done cooking it, you throw a slab of Irish butter on it. Oy, oy, oy. There's a guy who I was watching the YouTube video where they actually age the meat in butter. They take the meat, they dip it in butter, and then they put it on it. They let the butter harden because it's melted butter. They put it in there, and they pull it out, and it's coated in like a ½ inch of butter, and they just age it that way for months.
But the whole point of aging meat is for liquid to come out. How would that happen with it covered in butter and sealed?
I don't know,
it's more like a marinade at that point.
Yeah, but people were saying it was like the greatest thing ever. That the meat was so soft it wasn't even funny.
Here's my better question.
Yeah.
Have you ever marinated it in Guinness?
Yes.
And then add Cajun spices.
But I'm a purist when it comes to steak. If it's not just salt and pepper and butter on top of it, that's how I cook my steaks. I'll marinate other meats. I will marinate pork. Pork has to be marinated usually because it gets kind of dry. I'll marinate chicken.
It can, yeah.
Pork dries out very quickly.
Yeah, again, it can. Although I've been finding, because I use a new way for cooking like the pork chops and whatnot, that if you time it just right, you don't have near as problem with it drying out, even after you've refrigerated and have it the next day. Of course, it's always best when it's fresh off the heater, but no, whenever I do a steak, I love that we've become a food channel. Yeah. Whenever I do,
it's pop culture. People like to eat.
Food is a great thing that people can get behind and get together on. Yeah. You may disagree with certain things, by all means, that's fair. But it's still something that everybody can get along with.
Against food?
How are you alive?
I take vitamins.
He's one of those breatharians.
Anyone that doesn't breatharian,
You've never heard of those fools?
I've heard of that.
get all my nutrients from the air.
Yeah, I think that's called pollution.
Yeah.
Anyway, whenever I do a steak, it's like I'll take like olive oil to the whole thing, slather it up, and pat seasoning into it, and then grill that either in the new wave or on an actual grill. And that's about as far as I go with it. I've never managed to do a good sear because I don't have the iron skillet to do that kind of cooking. I'd love to try sometime though, but the skillets are expensive.
Just don't have a smoke.
Yard sale.
I don't want to go to a yard sale. I want my skillet.
What,
I don't want their skillet.
like a good cast iron skillet?
Yeah.
Yeah, but once you get one, dude, it lasts for the rest of your life.
Oh, sure.
That's why you got to find one at a yard sale.
That's why I don't want to go to the yard sale. It's probably all rusty and crap.
You don't know how to remove rust from cast iron?
I know how you treat it. You got to treat it properly in order to get that clear it up. But still,
you've got to. I
just want to get a new one.
You got to pet it and clean it.
But
and name it
the new ones, unless you like spend a lot of money, are not as good as old ones.
Well, I could also just wait for my mom to give up her cast iron skillet.
Lodge leaves theirs like really rough compared to old ones.
I think my father and mother have like 5 different sizes. They got the really big one, then they have the really small one. But they say cooking I don't like cooking eggs in cast iron because it sticks. But
you also have to be careful doing anything tomato based.
Yeah, because you'll strip the seasoning from it. Now, if you get a cheap piece of steak, I coat that sucker in salt and let it sit for hours.
Yeah, but you got to be very careful when rinsing it, otherwise you end up with an overly salty steak.
Yes, you have to rinse it really, really well, but it's amazing how much it softens the meat.
Yeah, and it does best if you use kosher salt to do that.
Yeah, kosher or rock salt. Kosher is probably the best.
Binging with Babish uses that a lot.
Yeah, if you coat it, I've actually watched it do its little thing. The salt draws all the liquid out of it.
It's like a quick age.
Yeah, and then and all of a sudden, all the liquid gets soaked back in. I don't know how that works. It's really weird.
I'm sure someone's done some science on that, which will be the greatest science of all. I'll be a scientist on that one.
Yeah.
Hypothesis.
And I've made the mistake of not rinsing the steaks well enough, and yeah, they are really salty. They're more like bacon at that point.
My steaks have been made.
The last time I really cooked, what did I do? I did those pork chops, or the pork loins. I did some pork loins that were really good.
I did a thing recently, well, relatively recently, where I took bacon and wrapped it around like chicken breast and pork chops and such, because I had the bacon. I'd actually had it for in my freezer for maybe 2 years. It's like, yeah, I better use this now. And that worked out really good too. I had never done it before, so I was glad that I managed that one without destroying something.
Yeah, speaking of chicken, every time I see that meme pop up about the chicken, where if you the raw chicken, rare chicken,
I get sick to my stomach.
It is the only meat that fowl, any poultry is the only meat that you have to cook all the way through. It's the only one. You can even pork. You can do a medium rare on pork and still get away with it.
Yeah, but a lot of people won't eat pork if it's.
Oh, believe me, I know, because when I made it, a lot of people I did Thanksgiving dinner, is what it was. I cooked that year, and I was like, we're going to change it up. Instead of doing turkey, I made the 2 pork loins, and I cooked them to a not fully cooked, but it was still medium. There's a little pink in the inside. It was there. It wasn't like it was not cooked, but cut them open, and it was delicious. But a lot of people wouldn't. They left it the middle. They left the middle. They ate the out stuff on the outside, but they wouldn't eat the middle of it.
When it comes to pork, I tend not to have it be pink, but as long as it's a nice white, not like gray burned, as it were, overcooked. Yeah. If it's white through the middle, it's good, because it'll still be tender.
That's one of the things I don't like about my new wave is there was more than once where I cooked like chicken, and I checked it with the meat thermometer. It was cooked, but the color was still weird.
What size of New Wave is it?
Oh, I don't have it anymore, but it was.
And where'd you get the chicken?
I don't remember.
Because that's a factor too. Sometimes I don't think people realize how old the chicken that we get in the grocery store is.
I was going to say, because cooking chicken with the bone in and all that has always been my bane. Regardless if it's on a grill or in a New Wave, I've just never managed to nail exactly the right time frame for it. But I've gotten close. So like on my New Wave, it's just kind of a small one. I find if you cook it like for 17 minutes and then flip 17 minutes again, that seems to work out pretty good. It's still tender, and there might be some kind of pinkish to it, but it's right there along the bone, and it's not in the meat itself. So that seems to how it works best. Again, it's kind of a toss-up. I've been done better with the boneless chicken.
It's amazing the stuff you learn as you get older and you cook. I mean, I love cooking. It's one of my favorite things. I really enjoy cooking.
You know, if you back up to talking earlier, like folks, kids, whatever, there's a lot of folks who've grown up and they just don't cook. They don't know how to cook.
That is one thing.
Cooking's fun.
Yeah, that is one. Well, my son right now is mad because I won't I told him he's got to stop. And he was cooking for a while. He bakes like crazy. He's really good at it. Makes really good cakes and stuff. But
Can't stop with the cakes, kid.
I was instructing on how to use the knife, and I have knives. I mean, these things will remove a finger very easily if you're not careful. And he was just swinging the thing around. I was like, no, like this. And I showed him how to hold and cut it, and nope, he wasn't getting it. I was like, okay, that's it, you're done. Until you can follow instructions, you're not doing this. And he got mad at me. You won't let me cook anymore. I was like, no, I won't let you cut anymore.
There's a difference.
There's a difference, but that was, I mean, I am nowhere near like a chef quality where I can do the hack. But I mean, I can cut an onion in probably 30 seconds.
I've never managed to do the chop thing either.
No.
I'm not great with a knife. That's the one thing I still work on.
I mean, I can cut it. I know you want to use the far end of it, the tip part, because that's the sharpest point. But all the same, it's like, I know what you're supposed to do, and it's like, my mind does not let me do it.
No, I'm pretty good when it comes to that kind of stuff.
Well, nice Firefly. I was just going to throw out real quick. Firefly, if you got a recipe thing, throw that out at us while you're here. Because we're gone full food here.
Don't deep fry your turkeys.
Do what?
Don't deep fry them inside.
Just don't deep fry your turkeys.
Oh, I love a good deep fried turkey.
It doesn't cook the turkey enough.
Then you're not doing it right.
I cook my turkey upside down with a pound of butter on the inside of it.
I don't know. My one of my best skills while cooking is like I'm really good at taking spices off the rack and just really balancing them well for like a rub and stuff. I don't know why. My sense of flavor, my sense of balance for that is just really good.
You know what I've learned this summer is I can actually cook ribs on the grill.
Ooh, that's a good skill to have.
I was doing it wrong. I was always doing it like you would cook a pork chop or something on the grill, which you want to sear the outside of a pork chop and then let it sit on the warm side. You don't do that with ribs.
They become too tough.
Yeah, you got to sit them away from the heat, and I would turn one side of the grill on, leave the other side off because I have a gas grill, and you got to let it cook for like 2 hours.
Yeah, you gotta ease your way in it. That's an investment of time.
Oh yeah, and you know what though? I did it twice this summer, and I was like, oh, these are amazing. I did it with both a rack, and then I did it with what is it? What's the term? Is it Texas style? Cowboy? Whatever it is, where they're the big, just single ribs. Did it both way, and they all turned out awesome.
Firefly's got a thing for stuffed onions.
Never had a stuffed onion.
I can't picture one either.
I'll have to look for it, but I have a rib recipe in the oven that is absolutely amazing and takes not nearly as long as some people's ribs in the oven.
We gotta share some. We're gonna have to do that. We'll have to do the Geek EZ shares recipe. I got one for a fish chowder that is phenomenal, and it's really easy to make.
I have a video. Oh, sorry. Go ahead, movie.
I haven't done it in a while, but I used to make homemade bagels a lot.
Never done that.
Like
Homemade
actually
bagels.
boiling them and everything.
Is that how they're made?
Yes, you boil them first and then
That's how you get that tough outer skin. That's why bagels in a lot of like grocery stores and stuff aren't that good. They don't do it right.
Oh.
And that's why New York bagels are the best because of the water.
And the water. It's like Chicago dirty dogs. Anyway, Firefly is going also about pondering chicken fried steak.
I like chicken
A good
fried
chicken
steak.
fried steak's good.
Yep. Got to have the right kind of batter, though.
Oh, I saw a video recently, and I shared it with my mother, that because she loves ribs. This guy took this massive thing of ribs, right? Well, like I say massive. It fills an entire platter.
Mm-hmm.
And he slapped it on this, it looks like paper or whatnot, and then he put some, look like oil and some seasoning on it, and then he wrapped it up, and on the other side of the paper was tin foil, and he wrapped it up thoroughly. Then he pulled out the platter, put some, like, it looked like flour or something. I'm not sure what it was. He put flour to cover the bottom, then put his ribs on top of that. Then he put more of that stuff on top of that and basically encased it, shoved that into look like a brick kiln oven, and then it was pulled out because obviously it's time sped. He pulls it out and he kind of does a little lighting of fire or flour on top of the stuff that was on top of that, and it hardens it. He cracks it open, and then he removes the meat from the foil, and you could literally pull the bone, the rib, right out.
How the heck did that not dry the ribs out?
I think it's just because of the way it was wrapped.
Okay.
Because it kept all the juices inside with it, you know?
That's true. Okay. Very true.
Matter of fact, if you go to my page later, you'll see it, and it's like, oh my god, I want that right now.
You ever cook fish in banana leaves?
I can't do fish. It's not my thing.
I love cooking fish. Grilling salmon is awesome.
You know what's really good?
What?
Halibut topped with crumbled crab.
Yes.
And a lemon pepper. Lemon pepper garlic.
I think the one thing I've screwed up royally was lobster.
How do you screw that up?
If you pull
lobster's really easy to overcook.
Yeah, they'll overcook so fast. And I screwed it up at least a dozen times, ruining. It's like, yeah, okay, this is getting expensive.
See, Firefly mentions wrapping your meat in foil and then putting that package on a grill or a George Foreman grill can be interesting. Now I'm curious.
Well, because it keeps the juices in.
Yeah, which kind of defeats the purpose of the George Foreman grill.
Yeah. Also, if you're going to cook your turkey upside down, which is the only way to cook a turkey, if you're really going to cook a turkey, throw a pound of butter in it, and or put it in an oven bag. Throw it in your roasting pan, and then about half hour before it's done, you take it out, flip it back over, pull it out of the bag so the skin is exposed to the heat, throw it back in the oven, and crank your oven up to brown the skin. That meat will be so juicy.
I would say when you're cooking a whole chicken, do it in a roasting pan, but you need to either have vegetables under it or a rack, and you'll actually get the whole chicken cooked. Yep. Not cooked, but crisp, not that soggy bottom chicken that most people end up with.
Mm-hmm. You know, you can do it with the beer can too.
Oh yeah, beer can chicken is good. You put a little bit of water inside the can or beer, and it helps steam it from the inside.
You know, I had a thought that I just remembered. You know, when you go to like Subway or whatever and say, I want this topping, and one of them spinach.
Yeah.
Apparently that's useless. You're just getting leafy greens, and you're not getting hardly any of the nutritional value. Spinach works best when you actually steam it. I did not know that.
I like raw spinach.
Yeah, but you're just not getting any real nutritional value.
Really?
Not nearly as much as if you cooked it.
Usually it's the exact opposite.
Apparently spinach is one of those that's different.
Well, who knew? Hey, guess what? Our 2 hours is up.
It is, and we ended it eating
I'm starving now. I gotta go eat something.
Like I said, we ate up all that time in talking food.
It's a good way to end it, though. It's a like you said, it's a subject that everybody can get behind, whether you cook meat or you just eat vegan or whatever. Food is a what's the word I'm looking for? It's one of those. It doesn't
Universal.
divide. It's universal. We all eat.
I'm against eating, sir.
Go away, breatharian. We'll say though, at least talking about food, like grilling meats and whatnot, it's not really as much fun when you try to talk about veggies. Which I think that the vegetarians and the vegans are just kind of hosed on. Sorry.
My brother-in-law makes a really good Brussels sprout with like bacon and brown sugar.
Oh my god, my wife makes the most amazing Brussels sprouts. She roasts them. She cuts them in half and roasts them in the pan with bacon.
Yes, that's my brother-in-law. Does he?
But they have
the brown sugar.
They have to be fresh Brussels sprouts. We'll buy them on the stalk.
It's the bacon part.
Cauliflower steaks are pretty good to make them right.
Oh, so before we wrap up, I did see a video where they pull out this wonderful roasted steak-looking deal, start cutting. It's a watermelon.
Oh, dude, grilled watermelon rocks.
And
I hate watermelon.
I'm looking at this like, how does? And I mean, it looked like meat.
And you actually have to salt it.
Rind. Yeah, from the rind and everything, it looked like a meat. And they cut it the same way, and it just. I was like, okay, I'm kind of impressed. I don't want it, but I'm impressed.
Have you ever seen those people that are those vegetarians or vegans that eat barbecued jackfruit?
Huh?
Hmm?
Some fruit called jackfruit, and they make they imitate pulled pork and stuff with it.
Really? I didn't know you could do that with a jackfruit. Who knew?
Huh. I'm just looking at a picture of jackfruit. I'm like, huh.
Anybody got a last call? 'Cause
I
I seriously need to go get something to eat.
I will be making a chili this weekend on Saturday.
Ooh, your chili's good.
It's not the award-winning chili, but it's probably award-winning chili light.
Mm-hmm.
Because I'll be doing... we're going to a gathering, and I'll be fixing it at location. 2 pounds of ground beef, a pound of ground turkey, and a pound of ground pork. And then throwing in mushrooms and beans. And that's pretty much it. It's not the full deal, but...
So award-winning chili silver medal.
I don't know if it'd be silver medal or not. It's just not the thick... It's not the over-the-top version that I've done. Adam's had it. I think. Did I send you some?
Yes, you did.
I thought I did. Yeah, that's right. There's the one I sent to you. I sent one, I think, to Roland. I sent one to Alistair, whose grandmother got upset, and I think sabotaged it.
I see how it is. Don't send me shit.
We didn't know you then.
ESP.
Well, fine. You want me to make some? You better send me some cash. I'll totally hook you up with a big jug of it. I just want a different
I like jugs.
method to can. Because I have one of the canners that are, you have to fill the water in and hope to God that the lid is on properly, otherwise it might fly off and go through the roof. They have actual plug-in canners now that it's like $100 and some odd. I'm like, I think I would really like that to do the canning, because I'm not a fan of the whole, you could put the little knobby deal on it and it bounces around blowing steam and all that. Yeah, not a fan of that. It works, but I just don't, not a fan. But yeah, well, that's my thing. Chili this weekend with movies and whatnot.
Cool. Well, I think we're going to call it.
Call it dinner!
I haven't eaten dinner tonight. I have to go up and actually eat. My wife made a spinach and artichoke soup.
And you lost me.
Dude, it's like spinach artichoke dip, but in soup form.
I don't think I've ever had artichoke.
Artichokes are good.
I will get spinach on a sub sandwich anyway, just because, again, it's leafy green. That's not a bad thing.
No, it's not bad at all.
But I draw the line at avocado.
Helps you. Oh, dude, avocados. It's like the bacon of the vegetables. So good.
Still don't understand the attraction of avocados.
So good. Guacamole is like one of the greatest.
Adam, are you one of those people
ever.
going broke eating avocado toast?
No, I am not one of the people going broke eating avocado toast, but I do eat a lot of avocados. We usually have 3 to 4 of them in the crisper bin in the fridge at all times. And I keep them in there because if you don't keep them in there, they ripen too quickly and then they're inedible.
Can you freeze them?
I don't think I've ever tried to freeze an avocado. They don't last very long in my house. You take it out of the fridge. If you want to eat it, you take it out the night before, and by morning, it's ready to go. But we should call it.
Time of death, 10:11.
11:11 by my time. Oh, sure. Now all the viewers show up. See, we're about to end the stream, and everybody leaves. Or everybody shows up. It's like our viewers just shot everyone up and was like, hey, look, last time I looked, we only had 4 people. Now we're back down to 4. Everybody left.
They're like, oh, they're leaving.
Now they're leaving. Well, they know we're going to end. But thanks for those who were listening, whether you're bots or not. I don't know, but thanks for listening. And we'll be back next week. Same bad time, same bad channel.
Maybe we'll have something more interesting besides food that makes us hungry.
Yeah, because I am starving right now. So unless anybody has anything pressing, I'm just going to hit the we're done bar. Anybody?
No.
All right. Say goodnight, everybody.
Later.
Good night, everybody.
See ya. Trash Panda.
Bye.
Okay, then.